Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a obviously very big review. The thing with this guy is his panels, at least on my copy, don't always line up, so something's not perfectly clipped together. However, that does not diminish him. It's mainly yellow with a little bit of an orange undertone in there, but I'm okay with the colors because this is generally what the Ark is supposed to look like color-wise. It's all the gun emplacements that you will see on this. It's got 10 on the top, there's 6 total on the bottom. They're just solidly molded in there. I wish that you could have turned them and had them individually. Let's not gripe about what this thing isn't and just instead enjoy what it is. Now obviously this thing has got the re-entry burns on both sides of the front section where it would have crashed into Earth's volcano, so that's really awesome. Apparently, aside from the main bridge, it has a secondary bridge up here because this thing is meant to scale with those grain of rice sized transformers that came with Unicron. And one thing that I just absolutely love is just the overall shape of this ship. This thing just looks sick. And I am loving the Autobot symbols, how they are just so prominent, which again, that is accurate to the show. And you can see kind of what I'm talking about right here, how this is not clipping in together. Something else is you guys will see that it comes with 6 blast effects. And when you build the 2 fire trees together like they're supposed to be, you're still left with 2 of the primary boosters that have nothing. It's like the ports that are here on the boosters, they're not that deep. So it kind of hinders these and it makes them fall out super easy. So the bridge is actually funny because you just grab this entire section right here and you just pull it on out. However, that does leave this big hole in here. Even though it's not meant to be with the normal sized kids, if you just want to totally blow the scale out of the water, you can literally sit any of the smaller boys in there, collapse it all up, and now Hubcap has his own personal spaceship, which is kind of hilarious in its own way, that's why I love it. It is kind of cool that you can do that. You can actually see the bridge section is just this very top level right here with, again, you can see here's those little, I guess you could call them ports for small ones. Like the Ark came with Optimus Prime. So due to his base, he could just plug in right there, and then the other Autobots will be doing their thing. So that is cool. I love the representation of the Ark bridge. So, this is Mainframe, or otherwise, as he's better known under his other alias, Teletran 1. I mean, he's got cool details, don't get me wrong. He's got something going on here. Due to his alternate modes, he's a little bit frumpy, in my own personal opinion at least. Now, when Mainframe turns into Teletran 1, he gets to serve as a pack mule. He also has Sky Spy. He just flew around and said, so, pretty cool. And then these 2 little beauties. And as you can see, they are both modeled after the Sounds of Earth golden discs that were launched on the Voyager, whenever one of them is clearly the alien disc, which it shouldn't have this on the other side.
I'd say it was the instrument of our destruction. Impressive, yes.
However, these boys do serve one function. And that purpose actually is to let Dinobot recreate that scene from Beast Wars where he's looking at the golden disc, brooding, contemplating his place in the universe, wondering if he's going to die or live and such. So we finally have a non-cardboard, hardcore plastic version of
Teletron 1.
Let's look at some of his interesting details. You can see that they've got that, the Matrix, a gauge, something about the Ark, and then the key to Vector Sigma. So little cheeky Easter eggs. So here you can see that one's like Trailbreaker. He's pretty much even with the top of Teletran. But you can see with ones like Hubcap, they'll scale quite nicely. So I can only imagine how Optimus Prime and others would look in front of this, probably actually exceeding its height. Alright guys, here we have him in robot mode. And I have got to say that as much as I love the Ark mode, there is just something about this boy's robot mode that is just so awesome. And I mean, granted, he's coming from a weird shape of the Ark as we saw it, but there's a little bit of genius engineering going on here. In regards to that ingenious in engineering is whenever the hands fold away or the legs go inside this area of the Ark, basically these things collapse back up farther into it. And I like the fact that whenever the stuff is flipped out, that it fills it out. It's kind of like the Siege Starscream's legs, you know, where the part just popped out, so it just was not massive chasms of emptiness. At least this is some way to kind of fill that in. But again, because these things have to get out of the way of what's coming in to take that place, this boy is extremely light. I mean, you stack him and Scorponok up together, and the boy is outmatched by Scorpy as far as weight goes. It's crazy to think of. Seeing him standing here next to Scorponok does highlight some weird design instances because it does kind of feel like, in connection with his mass, looking at Scorponok, his head does appear super small. His waist looks really tiny compared to just this huge upper torso piece. That still does not diminish the awesomeness of this figure. And one of the most interesting things about our boy here is his light piping. Look at that. Oh, that is just so sick. I love that. A Titan has light piping. Is this like the first one to have that? I'm not quite sure. Either way, it's pretty awesome. So, if we look at his face, as many of you have heard, his face was inspired by the last Autobot, which, as you might guess, was inspired by the Autobot symbol. So, loving the face. You can see how the details have, and this is not an intentional pun, but how they have transformed. I mean, just some of the details. One of the things about the hands, okay, this is the thing, and it's like, it's not uncommon for a Titan, but they have like the four fingers and then the thumb. Most of the Titans can actually make like a proper fist. This guy, that's about as close as you're getting, which, as we'll see here in just a second, there is a reason that that works so well. However, we come down to the feet, and what's funny is this guy, he is the one that is sans 5mm combat ports. The only exception being the bang boils, because you can attach blast effects here and here, and it mirrors on the other side over here. And a little bit of an odd choice. So I love the boosters just being his legs. That's kind of cool. Another thing is, if we take a look at this picture here, we can see that the last Autobot, or the Ark, is actually crushing Megatron, and it is glorious. This picture is actually pretty funny because it shows that not only is Megatron getting throttled, but so is Starscream. But what about if you used him with another full-size figure? Well, as you can see here he is just totally messing up Skywarp, and it's awesome because Skywarp's face, the one Seeker that has a screaming expression, it's just so funny because it matches so perfectly. And then finally, one of my other favorite pictures is him just kind of chilling with Optimus and Hubcap and Trailbreaker, and he'll look good with any Autobots because of course he will. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up here, just a little bit of house cleaning announcements. One thing is, I do again apologize because, as you've seen during this entire video and all other Titans that I've ever shown, they exceed beyond my setup. However, there's only so much I can do, but I'm sorry that it was not able to be as professional as some other folks. So that's that. The other thing is, the next review that we will be doing, we're actually going to be taking a look at Transmutate, going back to the side of Beast things. I mean, how predictable of me, right? And the other thing is, as you guys can see, not flexing, I actually managed to get a T-Rex. You know, we've done the Megatron review, but do you guys kind of want to see this? Because by the time we get to the Jurassic Park thing, this will be the third mold. So you guys, if you want to, feel free to leave me a note saying hey or yay or nay. I may do it anyway, even if there's not any response. You never know. However, guys, that should be it for our look at the Ark. And until next time, guys, I will see you in another review.